Welcome to another episode of the Suited to Serve podcast. I am your host, Keon. I am here with someone in our community that I feel like everyone needs to know about. I am here with somebody who is, I would say, a pillar as to making Fayetteville go, especially the Cliffdale side of town. You know, he's well known over here. He's the owner and head trainer of Ambition Boxing, located on Cliffdale Road. He's the father of two. He's a husband. He's a social worker. He's head coach, Coach Khalil. Welcome, Coach.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Appreciate you coming, man.
All right, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We're here to celebrate you, man. It's about you. I wanted to have you on the show just to show you some love. Been knowing you for a long time. Been seeing what you've been doing in the community for a very long time. This is a show where I like to bring people on that live in Fayetteville or from Fayetteville. That are doing great things in the community. And you were on my list for this year to talk to. So I'm glad we were able to make this happen.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, Coach, before we get into the interview, man, I know you pro boxing, boxing guy, boxing is your life, Ambition Boxing. Give me the top 5 fighters that influenced Coach Khalil.
Historically, number one would be Mildred Teller. He's out of Philly like myself.
Okay.
Growing up. Mildred Teller, Tyrell Biggs, another Philly fighter. Matthew Saad Muhammad, another Philly fighter.
Oh, you loaded up on the. Well, I guess these are the people you saw. Yeah, up, right. These are the people you saw.
Probably say Sugar Ray Leonard. He's probably he's in my top as well. And I probably honestly, Rafael Benitez.
Okay.
A lot of people not up on that guy. He was he was like champion at 17 years old.
Okay.
And actually, I first saw him when he fought Sugar Ray Leonard.
Wow.
So those are my top.
Did he give him a run? Who won that fight?
I think that was the one. I think Sugar Ray won.
Okay. It was a good one. Yeah. Got you. Now, I know you went pro in 1994. Is that correct? That sound about right? 95.
Pro 95.
Okay. I Googled you, so they might be off a year or two. Who was Coach Khalil before he found boxing?
Kid growing up in Philly, just doing different sports. And then I told people that as far as boxing in Philly is like Friday night football in North Carolina. So everyone's doing it. So either you're in the gym doing it, or you're in the neighborhood with the old heads teaching you. So I was just a kid, man, running around the streets of Philadelphia, just boxing, playing basketball, football.
So you would say from a young age you knew boxing was something you wanted to pursue professionally?
No. Actually, I didn't decide I want to pursue a profession until I went to the Army.
Okay. Yeah. See, I didn't even know you were in the Army, man.
Yeah.
Okay, that didn't come up on Google.
Yeah. So I first got into boxing, man, I was probably like 10 years old.
Okay.
In the direction of my mother. She was like, I want you to start getting into boxing. Growing up North Philly, I was short. For me. So then back then people wanted to pick on you.
Okay.
So I had to fight all the time. My answer was fight. So my mom got me into boxing. When I first started, I didn't like it. It was too much, what I learned later in life was too much discipline. I didn't like all the instructions. So, I would be like, I'm not doing this. And then, I go in the house, get my boxing gloves, because she bought my first pair of boxing gloves. And I take them out to my friends, and we would just box. Just box. So it's something I've always done.
So did you have like any uncles or anybody in your family that, knew how to throw them hands as well?
Not older than me. I had a younger cousin who really knew how to throw hands real well. I first learned how to box by a couple of old heads in the neighborhood.
Got you.
Guys was like, you need to do the right thing. But they were teaching us boxing because they were boxing.
Is it still like that there?
What, Philly boxing?
Yeah, like is it still like that in the community where guys, just in the neighborhood showing the young kids how to box?
I don't know if it's much because I'm not home as much now.
Okay, I got you.
I know there's a lot of people still box. I connect with, but now it's a whole bunch of shooting.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's everywhere. That's everywhere. So what led to Coach Khalil going to the military?
Didn't have anything else to do.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you box in the military?
Yeah.
Okay.
Boxed a long time in the military.
Okay.
So when I decided I was going to the military, man, I was struggling to get out of high school. And I told people it's not because I had lack of knowledge. It's my community. I lived in, the place I lived it was a bad place. I'm from North Philly. So one night, me and the guys sitting around after doing dumb stuff, I said, man, if I get out of high school, I'm going to the Army. And then people started joking me like, who, you? No way. No, you're not going to the Army. And I think that motivated me without me realizing it was motivating. So I was like, okay, I'll show you. And I ended up making it out of high school on time. but I went to school all day and I took 3 classes at night.
Mm-hmm.
And that's I'm going to the Army. So
Mm-hmm.
that's my reason though to go. I ain't have anything else to do.
Gotcha.
Like, you know, in the yearbook they ask you what you're gonna do when you get out. I made something up. Like, I'm going to school. I'm gonna be a carpenter.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that's a cool thing to say. So if I make it out of high school, I'm going to the Army.
Okay, so you knew that in high school what the plan was gonna be for you.
My last probably 4 or 5 months of high school.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yo, if I can make it out, I'm going right to the military.
How long were you in the military?
7 years, 8 months.
Gotcha.
So, and now with that, when I was going in the military, I said, now once I get in the military, I'm gonna stick to boxing.
Mm-hmm.
I played basketball still, so I'm gonna stick to boxing, and that's when I just started pursuing it more and more and more.
Mm-hmm.
Was there.
The trainers in the military, they like former pros as well?
Some of them were.
Okay.
So the first guy I had in Germany,
mm-hmm.
he was just a guy who just liked boxing.
Mm-hmm.
I think he fought a little bit, but he didn't do anything significant. But
mm-hmm.
he just dedicated his time to the guys who wanted to box.
That's what's up.
So it was like I was in Germany, stationed in Germany. It was like 6 of us on the team, and he just dedicated a lot of time. And I was the one that just stuck to it.
mm-hmm.
You know, I would call him. You know, back then we didn't have the subs.
Mm-hmm.
I would call him like at his unit. Hey, what can I do to get better? You know, he would just talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
I just said I gotta pursue.
Mm-hmm.
So I just continued to grow in it. Won a couple of V Corps championships. Went to USER 3 times.
Oh, explain what's that?
USER is like the United States Army Europe
mm-hmm.
Championship.
So okay.
You'll be the one, like, if you win USER, you're the Army champion of Europe.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
and you say you won it how many times?
No, I won V Corps.
Oh,
so you win your whole corps.
Okay.
So you think of your corps, we'll think of, say, it would be like FORSCOM here. If I decide V Corps, it'd be like saying everyone from Fort Bragg, Fort Hood, Fort Campbell, and Fort Knox.
Gotcha.
That'd be your corps.
Gotcha.
So I was V Corps champion. Then I went to USER, I think 3 times,
mm-hmm.
and I lost in the finals. I lost in the finals all 3 times. But then after that, I said, okay, my next step after this, I'm gonna get the Army. Only way I can get the Army if I get to Fort Bragg. I was tracking Fort Bragg.
Okay.
So the whole time I was in Germany, young guy, I'm tracking. I'm reading the paper we had over there for everything in the States. So I'm tracking Fort Bragg. Like, man, they got one of the best teams in the Army. I got to get there. So by the time I got to Fort Bragg, I did everything I could to get here, which I was fortunate to get here. By the time I got to Bragg, I already knew who guys were. They didn't know who I was.
You've been studying them.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's Patrick Washington. That's this guy. That's that guy.
Yeah.
So when I arrived, I contacted Bragg, the coaches. I said, hey, I'm the guy that was coming in from Germany and from Philly originally. And at that time, the head coach was like, okay, we're going to give you a tryout. You did the tryout for the team. So I went over there, told him, again, reintroduced myself that day. He gave me some gloves. He gave me a cup and headgear. He said, and back then his name was Coach Grant. He's an icon in the game.
Okay.
Back then he used profanity. He's like, here's your, go get dressed. So then I went, put all my stuff on. It's myself here and like probably 20 guys on the Fort Bragg team over there. And I got to
that are already on the team.
Already on the team.
Okay.
Sitting looking at me like,
lunch meat.
Yeah. And the guy he called to try out, my brother to the day named Patrick Washington. This wild Florida guy could fight. He's like, Patrick Washington, you the tryout guy. So I'm like, oh man, this guy must be the man.
Yeah.
We get in there, man. We lock up. It went well. Then, which I was doing well anyway. Then something happened when the bell rung, and I told my sons the story now. The bell rung, thing, and he hit me. Boom. I ran across the ring, hit him back. Boom. So then when I did that, I think that was even more of a stamp. Like, yeah, this guy right here.
Yeah. He got some dog in him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got some dog.
I put on the team. I took it back to my unit. Said, hey, I'm going to Fort Bragg boxing team. And when you were on the Fort Bragg boxing team, that's the only thing you did was box. You don't wear a uniform. You just box,
wow.
Traveled and box.
So it was a big deal in the military.
Oh yeah, back then. Oh man, it's real big.
Got
Some
you.
of the teams, yeah. So.
Yeah, y'all had 20 dudes on the boxing team.
Yeah, like Team A, like Team B.
Oh, okay,
so
okay.
Team A, the guys we did all the traveling.
Okay.
But if we was traveling somewhere and they had something small here, they take Team B.
Team B, got you. Oh, that's a pretty dope setup.
Yeah.
I know you had mentioned a little while ago that your mom was the first person to kind of put gloves on you. Talk to me a little bit about your mom. How's your relationship with your mom? What was it like growing up in Philly with your mom? Was it just you and her? Did you have siblings?
I had a younger sister. Well, my mom, it was cool. You know, we had a great relationship. But my mom, she was addicted to street life. So for as long as I can remember, my mom was on drugs, and then she got to the point where she was strongly addicted to crack, strongly addicted to alcohol. All that run in my family. So we had a nice relationship, but she was addicted to drugs.
Okay.
I mean, all the way to the time she passed away, our relationship was real cool. But we just had that understanding, like, Mom, you need to get your life together. Like, you just quick story.
Yeah, sure.
I get a call. They're like, "Hey, we think your mom is going to rehab again." I go home, get it. Like, "Mom, I'm putting you in rehab." Like, I don't need to be in rehab. I'm like, "Yes, you do."
And how old were you here?
Well, when I went
Wh-
home,
When this situation
oh,
happened?
I think I was probably like 23.
Okay, okay.
So like, I mean, my mom's like her young 40s, and she probably like 40, 41. So
Mm-hmm.
I said to her, I said, "Yes, you're going to rehab, Mom." So she's like, "All right, you know." So I get her, boom, call the little rehab spot above Roosevelt Boulevard.
Mm-hmm.
Get her up there, you know. Hey, my mom needs to be here. You know, crack cocaine. You know, the story they hear from everybody in my area where I live.
Yeah.
They know the story.
Mm-hmm.
So I get her there. She's in rehab. I come back down to Fort Bragg. 3 days later, my mom out. My aunt called me, and she was addicted too. She's like, "Oh, you know your mom is out." I'm like, "She's out? How's she out?" You know Lou. That's her name was Lou.
Mm-hmm.
So I call her. So, "Mom, what are you doing? How you get
Right.
out?" She's like, "Boy, please, you know I know what to say." I'm being for real, man. She's like, "You know I know what to say." Like, cause she been doing
Right.
it so long.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
other than that, man,
She know what they want to hear.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
My mind, oh man, my
yeah.
mind, man. But other than that, our relationship was cool, man.
Okay.
We had a real good
Is
relationship.
she still with us now?
Nah,
Oh, okay,
she
okay.
passed away.
Okay, gotcha.
My sister, my sister's like what, 6, 7 years younger than me. Her and my mom had a tough relationship. It was rough.
Women.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
rough.
yeah.
My mom trying to raise her, and for the most part, after the age of 12, at the age of 12, I didn't live with them
Mm-hmm.
because we didn't have anywhere to stay. So I lived with an aunt,
Mm-hmm.
with my cousins, and my sister and my mom lived in a room that my mom had to rent from this old mean lady. And I say that she was mean. The lady was mean. I'm sorry. They had a place there they had to rent.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't live together for years, probably until I left. Probably about the age of 12, 13, until I left to go in the army.
Oh,
We didn't live
wow.
together. We didn't have nowhere to stay.
Right.
So, so my mom and my sister's relationship was always really rough.
Yeah.
And then of course there wasn't no dad around.
Mm-hmm.
So
So was it just you and your sister?
yeah.
Okay.
And then a bunch of cousins, up there at that time, first cousins were real close. So we were like
Yeah,
brothers.
exactly.
Yeah, we
Real,
were
real
all,
close.
yeah.
Real close. Let's fast forward a bit.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting out of the military.
Mm-hmm.
What is your plan?
Initially when I got out,
Mm-hmm.
I'm planning on going back to Philly. That was the
Mm-hmm.
first thing. Like, I'm going back to Philly. By then I'm thinking I want to turn pro, but I'm also thinking I'm gonna work and I'm gonna either get a job at the post office or become a fireman.
Okay.
People like, "You just want to be a fireman?" Like, "Yeah, I just want to be a fireman." So I get home to Philly. I'm training. I'm still on my discipline routine. Getting up in the morning, running. Training. Even I'm training out of. I was training out of Front Street Gym.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember the first movie Creed,
Yeah.
they did it out of Front Street Gym.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
so I'm training out of Front Street Gym. Everything's going pretty well. And then I'm starting to see, this is my first introduction, say, to the politics of boxing. So the trainer I had in Philly, his son decided he wanted to turn pro.
Okay.
So now we're in the same weight class. So now it's calling the conflict of interest. At that time, I was going to possibly sign with a guy named Russell Peltz. If you look him up, he's probably one of the most famous promoters of all time.
Okay.
He had the Blue Horizon in Philly. I was supposed to sign with Russell Peltz. So, things starting to get a little shaky. I'm starting to, see like, this is not working out. So I'm still training. And I'm talking to my coaches down here for Bragg. And Coach Bradley, he said to me, "Hey, I know a guy who wants to sign you. See, but he wants you to train down here in Fayetteville, for Bragg." I'm like,
Of course.
I'm like, "Nah, man." I said, "I want to stay in Philly. Philly's the spot."
It was just home for you.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Nah." So as I'm continuing to try to work this out, I'm saying it's not working. So now I decided that I'm gonna go back
Okay.
to Fort Bragg. So I walk in one day.
What age were you when this happened? When you came back?
Probably about 25, I think.
Okay.
Something like that.
All right, got you.
So I told my trainers there in Philly. I told Greeny first. Me and him kind of split our ways because now his son turned pro. So we that was the divide kind of. Not because I had much love for his name was Eric. Much love for him, but now it's a conflict of interest. We're in the same weight class.
Yeah.
Like, you decided to turn pro, when the initial plan was you're gonna try to fight a couple more years to make the Olympics.
Right.
So now that's got to be conflict. That's your dad.
Right.
So I'm training with Wesley and Sonny. These are two other trainers there.
Mm-hmm.
One used to work with Bernard Hopkins.
Mm-hmm.
So I told Greeny first. And I told Wesley and Sonny, "Hey man, I'm gonna go back to down in Fayetteville for Bragg." They're like, "Just be a little patient." I said, "Yeah, I don't want to say no patience back then. I'm young."
Of course.
I'm like,
you hungry?
Yeah. I'm like, "Nah, I'm gonna go ahead and go back down there." You know. So they're like, "All right, if you change your mind, we're here." So we stay in touch. Man, I went to my aunt's house. Where I live with another aunt now.
Mm-hmm.
I had a little Suzuki Samurai. Right. I pack up my little
small joint.
I pack it up with everything. Hit I-95. It's probably like 12:30 in the morning. Then the next morning, I call back up. My Aunt Dot, she knew I left. I called back up, called my mom, I called my Aunt Chris. I'm in Fayetteville. You know, they're like, Fayetteville? I'm like, yeah, I decided to move back. So then that's why I ended up signing with a guy out of DC. But my initial pro trainer was my former Fort Bragg coach, Coach Bradley.
Got you. Is Coach Bradley still around?
Yeah, he lives in Virginia now.
Oh, okay, yeah. Got you. So talk to us a little bit about your pro career, man. Not many people get to say they've been a pro boxer.
Right.
Talk to us about your career, man. If you know now being at this stage in life,
right,
you have a different perspective. Let's talk a little bit about your pro career.
It was started out going great.
Yeah.
You know, I was 15-0. I was ranked number 15 by the NABF. Probably like number 30 by the WBC. One of them people predict, he's gonna be a world champion. You know, everything's going great. For the longest, North Carolina never had a boxing commission. So when they got an official, like real pro boxing commission, I was actually the first champion in North Carolina under their commission. That's a tough question. I get bored sometimes now. I'm like, yo, who's the first champion in North Carolina? They're like, Bone Crusher's like, no. I'm like, I was. They're like, really? I'm like, yes. So when they finally got a real boxing commission, with sanctioned fights all over, I was the first North Carolina champion.
Nice.
So everything, everything's going well. 15-0. I just won the I'd already won the state title. Then I won the WBF Intercontinental title. You know, so people having what they do, big predictions. He's gonna be he's gonna be the world champion. When I say world champion, I'm talking like WBC, IBF, the main belts. So my manager then, the guy I signed with initially, he had breached the contract for the second time. You know what I mean? Like, so when they give you a contract, sometimes like you get so many fights in a year, you're expecting to make this amount of money. So it's the second time he breached it. So I'm like, Harry, this is not good business sense.
Right.
You know, so he's talking to me some, but I'm also listening to people in my ear who don't really know boxing.
Okay.
You know, so with that, I end up not signing with Leave Harry or due to the contract breach, and I signed with another guy with another trainer I have. So when I signed with the other guy named Arnie, he gave me a little signing bonus, and we get the signing bonus. You don't pay those back. That's just your money. But they find a way to get it back from you.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So okay, well, we just
ain't nothing free.
Yeah, we just gave you $25,000.
Right.
We gonna get that back. Now we can't get it out. We can't necessarily get it out your check. We can't say, hey, you got to pay that back to us. Like in advance, you had to pay that back.
Right.
Sign the bonus. This is yours. But how we gonna get it back? We're gonna give you a tough fight. And when this promoter call us for this tough fight, and we bring you on, he gonna give us a cut. So with that, so when I had my first loss, I was the main event on Fox back in that Friday Night Fights.
Yeah,
I was the main event.
Okay,
but I was the B side. I was fighting a guy named Goya Vargas. He had recently lost his world title to Kevin Kelly. So he's I think 34-6. He's 34 wins, 6 losses, former world champion. I'm 15-0, just up and coming fighter. You know, a fight that probably shouldn't have been made at that point in my career. We had another guy we could have went after, but my new manager wanted. We'll take that fight. Yeah. So
was that to get the money?
I think it was something to get the money.
Oh, okay. Wow.
We didn't, when it came with the first weight,
they can not even want to take no money from nobody. You know what I'm saying? Up front, if that's how it's going to be on the back end,
right? But you don't know that.
Yeah, exactly.
To be okay.
You're right. You're right.
Like, that's not making sense. So we had this fight scheduled. They had it scheduled for like, I don't know, I remember something like 138 pounds. Like that's easy. I made that easy. No, excuse me, I'm sorry. I apologize. They made it for 136.
Okay.
I'm like, that's easy, no problem. He couldn't make 136. And I said, we're gonna move it up to 139. You can come up to 139. Well, okay, I can make that too. But I'm already knowing like this guy can't make the weight. Okay. So we get it, they fly me out to Chicago. Then I don't get to see this guy weigh in at all. My manager and trainer, if they saw him weigh in, they didn't tell me. And my locker room was a boiler room. So right now I'm sitting in the boiler room.
Hot.
It's hot. It's noisy.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is
uncomfortable.
This is not good.
Can't get your mind right.
Right. We get in there. We fight. Pretty good fight. I ended up losing. They stopped it it was a 10 round. They stopped it in the 9th round. And the referee stopped it. But I was lumped up some. And he said he probably was gonna knock you out, but you started taking a lot of hits. You know, which basically, off his experience helped. I still think I was a better skilled guy. Right.
His experience. Can't beat experience, man. Knew what to do he knew. He been there 20 times before you.
Right. He knew how to get in my head, do the small things, know when to complain to the referee. Like he would hit me on my hips a lot, which really should be illegal.
Yeah.
The reference, he would hit it from the blind side.
Mhm.
When I would go to punch him, he turned his head, take the shot away. I hit him here, like, hey, ref, you hit me in the head, you know, so hit me behind it. So he knew.
Yeah, he was a vet.
Right.
He
So
was a vet.
I lost, you know, come back, you know, after being written, you know, in the paper, I still go out because people still show me love.
Mhm.
So I'm back in the NCO club. I'm at the NCO club with a lump. So
Mhm.
people like, oh, don't worry about it.
Yeah,
So the next fight we scheduled, I think I fight over in Edmonton, Canada. Send me over there to fight the IBO World Champ. They sent me over there by myself. Okay, I'm over there for like a week by myself in Canada, not understanding the difference in the altitudes, any of that stuff. I lose the majority of the decision to the IBO World Champ. So now I'm like, yeah, this guy getting his money back. So I went on, I don't know, man, probably like a 6-fight losing streak. A couple of them I don't think I lost. I really don't. Okay, so I'm like,
was that at the end? Because I know you said you started off like 15 and 0.
I'm like, on a losing streak.
Oh, okay.
So now, you know, you're I'm on this little losing streak. You know, by now, confidence starting to get shook.
Sure.
You starting to look at the people around, like, okay, now I can't get in the gym as much because now Mr. Such and Such, I'm not gonna mention his name, he's not allowing me in the gym to train because he want money. So now I can't get in the gym 5 days a week. I can get in 2, maybe 3 days a week. Okay, trainer not showing him now because he want more money. You know, it's like, oh, okay, now I this
everything falling apart.
Oh, everything's falling apart. I'm watching, like, that's not right. But I was smart enough to say, okay, so now I'm in school. I'm in college. Okay, sometimes I got a plan too. So we're sitting there, man. By now, I'm finished with this boxing stuff. You know, it's been fun. I'm jumping rope, and at that time, Colonel Butler, he was a colonel for Special Forces. He's training me some, and my buddy Bashir, he was training me some. Bashir ended up being he was a former teammate of mine, like a brother, 3-time Olympic coach. So I'm training, I'm jumping rope. I drop my rope, I'm done. So he's like, what do you mean you're done?
That was it. You had that moment.
I said, I'm finished.
Yeah.
So he's like, I said, yeah. So I called my man and told him, he's like, well, you know, if you come back, you sign the contract with me. I said, you don't have to worry about that. So I'm not that type of guy. I don't have to come back.
Yeah.
Okay. But I make one come back. Okay. So, after I do this, you know, I'm still in school, and I say to him, you know, something like that, I'm not the type of guy. My life is good. You know, I'm fine where I'm living. So I finished with him now. And however, I can't remember exactly, but however it is, my contract was over now. Okay. They have a big fight at the Crown. Larry Holmes on it. Bone Crusher Smith is on it. Tim Witherspoon. I forgot what they called it. It was called like the Hall of Fame fight or something.
Okay. I remember that.
Yeah.
I think I remember that. Was that like early 2000s? Like mid? What was that?
Late, I think late 90s. Probably like right before 2000.
Okay.
So I get a call, and the guy's like, hey, you know, we'd like to have you on this show. We know you got a big following in Fayetteville. You know, shoot me all those. I said, man, I don't fight anymore. I said, right now, I'm sitting here, I'm weighing 152 pounds.
Jeez.
And the guy says,
you was fighting, what, 130 something,
135.
Right? Yeah.
The guy said, okay, we'll pay you X amount of dollars, you know, if you make the fight. This guy named Hinton, who I tried to fight when I was up and coming. He was up and coming, but people wasn't fighters.
Okay.
So now I'm on
now you intrigued.
Yeah, I'm out. You know, I'm like, well, I'm out of it now.
Yeah. Okay. So that didn't intrigue you a little bit, the money and the opportunity to fight this guy?
Initially, no.
Okay.
But the guy wasn't about him anymore.
Okay.
I knew my career was over.
Okay.
So I'm sitting there, I'm like, nah. So the guy called me back, man, how many days later? Hey, we'll up it.
Okay.
A couple of $1,000s. I'm like, nah, man, I'm good.
Okay.
He called me back. Right? Hey, we'll up it a couple of $1,000s. And you only had to come. I told him I'm weighing my weight. He said, and you can come in up to 139 pounds. It's okay, so for this little 8-rounder, they're gonna pay me this. I can come in 139. I probably can still catch this guy and knock him out. I'm so confident. I'm like, I'll take it.
Yeah. So was it just a matter of getting your mind ready to get back in the ring, or was it more of a matter of getting in shape?
It was a matter of getting in shape and then looking at the dollar sign.
Okay.
You know, getting in the ring wasn't really anything to me. Like I had the heart to do that.
That's what you do.
Like, okay, can I lose money?
Getting in shape ain't the fun part.
Right. Like, okay, I got to get down. So I had to lose. I lost 14 pounds in 3.5 weeks.
Nice.
Right.
You was on it.
Oh, I was weak too. I was weak. So I'm in there. You know, the fight start. I get my little check. The fight starting. It was going good. He's hitting me. I'm banging him, and then I end up I get dropped. Boy, I got hit with a shot. And I took a knee. And I get up, like, man, I'm dizzy. So when I go sit down, I told Colonel Butler, I'm like, man, I'm dizzy. I'm dizzy. So I think my eardrum is cracked. He's like, you know, keep going. So we get up, we start going a little bit more. Then I back into the corner. I told the ref, I said, I think my eardrum is cracked. So then he's like, they stopped the fight. Go to the back. My eardrum wasn't cracked, but I had a slight concussion.
Okay.
You know, because like I said, we banging back and forth. We had 8 ounce gloves. I had a slight concussion,
Mm-hmm.
and then back then the doctors were good. They didn't check me out. They go do this, go do this.
Yeah.
They're just like, all right, they
Yeah.
send me home. You know,
You ain't dead.
yeah, you ain't dead. Go home. So, and then after that, man, after the last one, then
Okay.
I stayed away from boxing for a couple of years, like
Mhm.
training people, anything, because I was kind
Okay.
of
Just burnt out.
I was burnt out, and I was a little bit upset, like because of the ills of boxing. So I just
Mhm.
stayed away. So people come to me about, hey, we got these young guys coming. I'm like, nope,
Mhm.
no, I just stayed away from it.
Yeah.
So that's a long. Try to make that story short, but yeah.
Nah.
So
Nah.
it was enjoyable.
Yeah.
I don't regret any of it. It's
Mhm.
just part of just I was able now to share knowledge with these guys when they come along. Like,
And
listen,
yep.
listen what I'm saying. You know, I get it. That's your buddy. You like him, but he
Mhm.
don't have knowledge of this.
Yeah.
You know, so I would share with the guys now. Like, listen, that's not the route you want to take.
And I'm glad you said that because that's actually where I was going. You know, from your boxing career, the good, the bad, the ugly.
Mhm.
What are some of the core things that you like to instill in your fighters based on things that may happen to you, whether it's the
Mhm.
business side or in the ring? What are some of those key things that you make sure to point out to your young fighters coming up in the
Okay.
game?
First and foremost is I had the amateurs, now I had a couple of the pros I was working with.
Sure.
But first and foremost with my guys is conditioning, being right mentally, being right physically.
Mm-hmm.
That's big on my list.
Mm-hmm.
Um, First and foremost is that. Second thing is watch your circle. You know, for my amateur guys, they win a couple of matches and think they're all world. I'm like, you just won a couple of matches, doesn't mean much.
Still got a long
Yeah,
way to go.
and I've even said this to guys: if they lose their first match, that first match is more joyful for them than me. So a guy, wanted to win his first match. I totally understand that.
Yeah.
But if you haven't been doing everything right and you win, that's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be hard to get to you now.
Ah,
So that
yeah.
first match is more so for them than me.
Right.
Um, and as far as my pro guys, I tell them to be aware of your circle, pay attention to the business of the game because it's always business,
Mm-hmm.
no matter what. But hey, man, promoter, man, meet, hey, buddy, it's business. So every time you
Mm-hmm.
sit down with these guys,
Mm-hmm.
it's business.
Mm-hmm.
And then the people who are around you, make sure they can contribute to what's around you. So I don't need the guys, they're just hanging along because they want to hang along. Because
Yeah.
when things not going right, they're
Mm-hmm.
out of here.
Yeah.
So you want to hang and brag about me? Oh, that's my God. Oh, okay. Hey, I gotta go do some sprints. Can you hold the stopwatch for me?
Mm.
I'm gonna give you something to do because this ride's not gonna be free. And I
Right.
tell all the guys that, all of them.
Mm.
If someone's hanging around you, they need to have a job.
Put them to work.
Yes,
Put
don't
them
just
to
hang around
work.
just so you can brag. Yo, that's my guy. You're not gonna have any free dates with some chick off me because you
Right.
know me.
Right.
So I'm big on that. It's really is business, man.
Now, for those who don't know, Coach Khalil coaches professionals and amateurs, but you also do like fitness courses as well
Yes,
through
I do.
boxing.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
find a lot of your clientele, is it more people looking to actually pursue a career professionally or more people looking just to try to get in shape?
I have more people trying to get in shape.
Okay.
And the thing is, which I tell people, I've been doing sports performance training like forever.
Yeah.
So and with that, like I have to tell them, being under the umbrella of the boxing guy is cool because I've done a lot in boxing.
Mm-hmm.
But I started like telling people like all my certifications and licenses from I'm actually a National Academy of Sports Medicine master trainer.
Yeah, master. I saw
Yeah,
that. You got like 7 certifications,
I'm
I believe.
certified. Yeah,
Yeah, bro. I
nutrition.
Googled you, man.
Okay,
I got all that.
right,
You
right.
just beating me to it. But yeah, Coach Khalil know his stuff. He's not just a boxing coach. This dude
Right.
is a master trainer through
Right.
NASM, which
Right.
is probably the best training course a personal
Mhm.
trainer can take. And he is a master trainer. He got 7 different certifications in fitness. So he's much more than a boxing coach for
Right.
sure.
So sometimes I try to get from under the umbrella. So
Mhm.
like a person to come to me like, oh, I'm gonna put my son in boxing training. I need him to learn footwork. He plays football. I'm like, so why we boxing?
Mm.
Like, nah, so so like the footwork, I said it's not the same.
Nah, it
The
isn't.
mechanics are not the
It
same
is
at
not.
all.
I don't know
So
what that parent was thinking.
right, but they think footwork and boxing, so they think of the Sugar
Yeah,
Ray Leonards and when they shuffling.
yeah.
But most of my members are people who just want to get in shape.
Mhm,
You know, I get a lot of the females we lose weight or do something
mhm.
different.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
what I tell them, I train everyone as if they're trying to become a boxer.
Mhm.
Meaning you don't want
Yeah.
to do full contact, but you actually learn the self defense art.
The drills.
Yeah, you learn
Mhm.
everything. So you
Yeah.
learn how to throw your card. If somebody throw a punch at you, you know how to block it. You're in
Mhm.
Walmart, when somebody throw a punch, you know how to bloop. Now I'm
Yeah.
out of here.
Yeah.
So I teach everyone as if they're trying to become
No, that's
a
good.
fighter.
That's good.
And I think that's what people enjoy about it most. Because most
Mhm.
of my members, man, I'm somewhere now. I'm probably somewhere, I don't know, 35 members. On average night, we're having anywhere from 21 to 28 people in there.
That's awesome.
Of that, I think 6 of them are boxers.
You still do the kids class as well?
Nah, I couldn't. I have time for that.
Really?
Yeah.
Ah, man.
I tried
so,
to put on my
so you don't do kids anymore, or do you incorporate?
13.
Okay, gotcha.
So 13-year-olds. First I stopped and I was 15.
Okay.
I had a couple of 13s. I said, okay, so I put a 13-year-old with the regular class, and I told the parents before they sign up, if they decide to sign, if the 13-year-old can't hang, then they can't be a part of the class. So I had to let them just try it out first.
Yeah.
And try to keep them among their group, other 13-year-olds, 15-year-olds. Like, I couldn't do the young kids.
Yeah. So which do you prefer to train? Is it the people coming in for the guidance on weight loss, or is it the people that like really want to make a career? Like, where are you more passionate? I know you're passionate about both, but where are you more like excited to go when it comes to that?
The ones who want to come there to learn it, weight loss, do a different type of training. They're more so than the ones who I want to box, or one of the guys will tell me I want to be great, because when the person decides they want to box, they want to do just a box, or they want to be great. Sometimes when you find that they get punched in the nose a couple of times, they no longer want to be boxed, they no longer want to be great. Someone who's trying to lose their weight, get in shape, even learn self-defense, they're dedicated and they stay, they'll stay with it. So, and I tell people this: you're gonna have a business. Your business is not gonna survive off of boxers. They come and go. Like, I don't want to do this anymore, man. It hurt. Your business will survive off the person who's doing everything else. I do yoga on Mondays, Tuesday nights I come to boxing. That's how your business survives. It makes it based off of those. But you got to treat everyone as if, everyone's important when they walk through the door.
For sure.
Everyone's important. So when I have a group, I don't have a group just for my boxers and my group for my non-boxers. Everybody's in one group. Everybody getting the same information. When I do the extra stuff, everyone's invited. So when I do Saturday runs, it's not just for my boxers. It's for all my members. Hey, Saturday we're going to run. All of you can come out and run. There's not no, I'm gonna charge you extra. Just come on out. See what it's like to run, hit some road work. So but I'm more excited about that group because man over there got boxes get hit. Like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Nah, that's good. I like that, man. As I was doing my research about you, I've been knowing you for a long time, but there's a lot about you that I had no idea. You've basically created I don't even know if you realize this. You've created, I want to say, a career off of helping people post boxing. Right. You created because you also have as many degrees as many certifications that you have in training. You have some degrees under your belt as well in social work, correct?
Yeah, I have a bachelor's of social work and I have a master's in psychology with a concentration of child and adolescent development.
Yeah, man. And, all of that is from the training to the social work is you pouring back into the community, right, man. And I just thought that was super dope as I was kind of reading up on you. Let's talk about your social work career. I know you're working out at the school, right, 71st High School, Falcons represent. Talk to us about social work, what it is like, what it's like out there with those kids, man. Tell us something interesting that us as parents don't know about our kids that you see every day. This gonna be good. Okay, this gonna be good. And please don't say nothing that can get you called into the principal's office tomorrow.
Right. So what's some of the things you see in the schools now? First, I've been working in the school system now for 21 and a half years as a school social worker.
Wow. Man, that's dope.
I started out at Graves Creek High School, then I went to E. Smith, and now I'm at 71st. First, let me tell you the story how I got into it.
Yeah, please, absolutely.
Okay, when I'm in school, like I said, boxing career, it's gonna have to be over. Still got the GI Bill, so I'm not gonna be that guy who walk around doing nothing at the boxing. It was just a part of my life. So I'm going to get my degree in social work. Well, I'm back even further. I wasn't going to social work at first. I was going to Fayetteville Tech, and I was doing like daycare. Right, I didn't know. It wasn't on purpose.
You was going to run a boxing daycare? You got the little babies in there throwing jabs.
I'm taking child care development. So one day I go talk to, I guess, one of the counselors, and she's whatever discussion we was having. I said, I just want to be like, to feel like I'm helping people. So she's like, older lady, maybe you're in the wrong field. I'm like, really? Just like, don't you get to work with kids? help kids, and I guess part of it's almost natural to reflect back to your childhood. Like it's rough in Philly where I was at, so we had people helping us. Maybe things went better. So she told me, so you need to go into social work. You had to transfer out of here. This school has social work in Pembroke. So I'm down there. I start out going through my social work stuff, and then one day, Dr. Morrison, he looked like a punk rocker. That's how his hair was wide. He just was. He was like a real different type guy, old head white dude. So he come to me one day. He said, so what you gonna do? He's all head of the department. I said, well, after I finish, Dr. Morrison, he said, I'm gonna go to Child Protective Services. His kids need help. He said, and I'm gonna keep it real. He said, no, the hell you're not. I like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. He said, no, you don't. I said, so what I'm gonna do? Now I'm like,
yeah, what you know, I don't know.
Right. So he said, you go to Child Protective Services, you're gonna burn out in 2 years. He said, you're gonna be unemployed. He said, so what you're gonna do? He said, you're gonna go into school social work. I said, what is school social work? He said, social workers in the school. He said, I'm gonna tell you this right now. He said, they need more black males in the schools. He said, I need you to go into the school system.
That's
he said,
dope.
You got
this coming from a white guy,
an old head white dude,
That's
Dr.
dope.
Martin, coolest dude ever.
That's
if
dope.
you saw him right now, you think that he played for Aerosmith. So he was much older. So he says, you got to take a special class, school social work class. He said, that class is full. He said, but not for you, because I'm gonna write you in it, because I'm the director of the program. I'm like, all right. So we go in there. I'm in the class. I'm loving it. I'm like, oh man, I'm going to the school system. Okay. So had no idea what goes on in the school system. Right. I know I'm about to be working in the school system. I didn't even know that you get your summers off in the school system and all the holidays you get off.
Okay.
So fast forward, graduate. They have a fair job fair.
Okay.
So everybody go to this new school, Grade 3 high school. The line is long. Everybody want to go to this new school. I go to East. I think I'm with the Pine Forest. We already had school, and I gave my resume to another school. I can't remember who it was. So Pine Forest already had a guy, real thorough guy, Dr. Hendricks. I wasn't getting there. I get home, man, and I get a phone call, and the phone call comes from the new principal at Grace Creek, Ms. Joyce Adams.
Okay.
Coolest little fiery little lady you could ever meet. Like she's probably like little white lady. She's probably about 5'2". She had real nice calves. She was known for a nice calf, and she wore heels. She called me up. She said, "Hey, I'm gonna be the principal at Grace Street High School. I'd like to know if you want to come in for an interview." So I stated to her, I didn't turn my resume.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you. I thought you left and went to Pine Forest.
Right.
Okay.
I didn't turn my resume in. She said, "I know." She said, "But somebody called me and said that you'll be a good person to interview for this position." Nice. Like, wow. So
was it the doctor from Pine Forest?
No, it was a lady who worked for Child Advocacy Center. Where I went there and did like a week of volunteer work. You had to do like volunteer work.
Okay.
And I went to Child Advocacy Center, a place to help the children. So she called her and said, "Hey, this is guy who just went through named Khalil. He'll be great for grade 3."
Man, and let's put a pin in it right there. I just think that's such a excellent point to kind of point out. Like, man, you got to treat people good. You every encounter with people. Like I always tell my son, like good relationships has opened more doors for me than money ever could.
It's very important, man.
You know what I mean? Like, so just that 1 week with that lady, clearly you did what was expected of you. Clearly you was respectful, because I'm sure she wouldn't have referred somebody that was disrespectful. Right. But just how you carried yourself in that lady's presence for 1 week got you a phone call that changed your life.
Right.
That's incredible, man. Treat people good.
Treat them good, yeah.
Treat people good out there.
Relationships are important, man. So I go, I call her. Excuse me, she called me. I said, yes, I come in for the interview. I go in for the interview. We're talking for probably about 30 minutes. It's myself, Miss Adams, and Jackie Chabot, who's her secretary, was a good friend of hers. So she said to me at the end of the interview, she said, "You have anything for me?" And I state to her, I don't really have any questions or anything. I said, just being honest. I said, when you sit in the interview, you hope that you give the right answers to whatever the questions are being asked. I said, when you ask questions, the person's doing the interview, you hope that you receive the right answer.
Yeah.
I said, so with me, only thing I tell you, Ms. Adams, is everything I told you is authentic. Like, I really work hard. I really have passion for what I do. If I didn't have passion for working with children, I wouldn't even been in this whole system. So she said, okay. She said, well, I have 3 more people to interview, and then I'll make my decision.
Okay.
I get home, she called me back probably about an hour and a half. I don't know, maybe a little bit longer, so long. She said to me, I feel pretty good about when I make decisions, something I think about. She said, I'm not going to interview anyone else. I'm going to offer you the job.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So I lost it. I said, well, okay. I had a couple other resumes out there, but I like the idea. Can I have like a day or so to call you back, Ms. Adams? I gotta play it off, I think.
Nah,
So
bro.
I hang up. I'll call her back in like 30 minutes.
Uh,
I know. Yes, I'll take the job.
yeah,
All right, you're not
yeah,
gonna take it, but I'm thinking I'm supposed to act this way. So
yeah.
that's how it'll get into the schools, man.
Nah, that's dope. That's
Yeah.
dope.
So now let's go back to your original question.
Yeah.
What is it like now for children?
Yeah.
For many men, to be honest, they're bad. They're off the chain. They cuss you out.
Let me kind of let me rephrase that question.
Okay.
Now that I know you've been in the system for 21 years.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the things that you've seen change over the years in our children?
Yeah. Respect for adults.
Mm.
Respect for adults, big time.
Mm.
Big students now. And this is the thing, and I was talking to a guy about this. You got so many students doing great things in the school. So, man, I mean, a lot. But it's that small number of 30 or 40 that continue to cause major problems. And I've seen over the years where the home they come from is causing a major problem.
Yeah.
So, and the respect for adults, man, is really bad. Like, there's so much disrespect. It's really at a whole different level. I wish they could put cameras in some of the kids' home so the parents can see them. I've had, when last year I had a kid pointing, like he's shooting at me. He said, "Don't worry, I see you around." Like, this guy don't know who he's messing with. I'm not making this up.
Yeah.
I had a guy this year, he called me it has N-word. All because I said, "Yo, man, you gotta get to the bathroom, man. You're gonna be late to class." "Oh, get out of my face." I said, "What?" I said, I wasn't even disrespectful to you, but the disrespect is big, man. It's really big. And the thing you have students, and we all had that other side. So the kids who are going off on me, the ones who don't know me,
yeah,
I'm like, they don't even know. Like, it can, like, if you become physically aggressive, it's gonna get really bad for you.
Yeah,
like they don't know.
Yeah.
I had one of the guys I trained like 6 kids, I think, from 71st, and the guy was acting disrespectful, and the kid who I trained, he said, "Yo, man," he said, "you don't want to mess with Coach." He said, "That's the wrong person to mess with." I was like, "Okay." He said, "Listen, you don't want to mess with Coach, man. He's the wrong person to mess with, and he's a cool guy."
Yeah.
But the biggest thing, man, is disrespect. It's a lot of disrespect. You have teachers in the building who actually scared.
I'm sure.
Yeah, and they
I'm
say
sure.
it.
A lot of these videos that come out with these kids, just being, like you said, I mean, it echoes what you said, just being utterly disrespectful to these teachers. It's like cringeworthy, man. Because I couldn't imagine, not even myself, but being in a class where a classmate is even talking to a teacher like that.
Yeah.
It's very sad to watch.
It is.
And then you look in the comments and you see people, saying things like, the teacher shouldn't have hit this child or things like that. But if your child is aggressive and in my face, like, I just feel like the parents of today have gotten soft.
Right.
You know what I mean? Would you say in your 21 years you've noticed a age gap in what parents was 21 years ago versus now? I feel like the parents now are a lot younger than they were 21 years ago.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. So
you feel like raising babies, basically, right?
Like,
you feel like that contributes to the lack of respect that's kind of being out there now?
Definitely. I have a 15-year-old sitting in my office, and she's going off on her mom because she's not coming to school. The young lady, we find out she's not coming to school. Her mom's in her office. Her mom is 31.
Had her at her age.
Yeah, so had her, and now, and I, of course, it's not every case, but this, I'm like, oh, this is totally because when you had her, you were 16. So somewhere along the line, unless you had a great support system, there's a good chance you weren't really, doing things the best way.
Yeah.
And that's not for all people who have, children when they're younger. But this, I felt just what it was. I'm like, oh, this is right here. They got to the point where I had to tell the young lady, "Yo, stop talking. Like, stop talking. Like, you're not an adult. Stop talking. You're not an adult." So now she's listening to me as maybe authority figure. Well, she could have been thinking like, okay, this guy could be like my dad.
Yeah.
It's so definitely, man, you see a difference in the age difference. I got to tell you, I had a grandma walk in.
Uh-oh.
No, but I thought she was the mom.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, so your son is not a kid to get into trouble. He just needs to help some stuff. I said, okay, so mom, what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna look into this, and I'm gonna give you a call. She said, "No, I'm grandma." I said, "You grandma?" She's like, "Yes." I said, "Oh." I said, "You like the mom?" She said, "I get that a lot." I said, so how young is the mom?
Right.
I said, you have to tell me her age. It's not good to tell a lady's age. But I'm thinking like, wow, you about 50.
Mm-hmm.
This kid is 16.
They
I'm
all
like,
had each other young.
yeah. So I'm like, wow, if your grandmom and you like 50, you know, so but I, you know, to answer the question, yeah, I think the gap.
I think another, just from my perspective from coaching all the years I coached, I feel like a lot of parents, and you tell me what your experience in seeing and working with this coach, I feel like a lot of parents want to be their kids' friends now. I feel like my generation of parent, your generation of parent, like there was a fine line. Like I'm your mama, I'm your daddy. You know, I ain't your friend. But I do feel like a lot of the parents, because they had these kids so young, they try to be they kids' friend more than the authority figure that they need. What do you think about that?
I think that's possibly some of it, man. I think possibly the too much of the friend and not enough of the authority figure.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
I say, and I tell people, actually, I have 3 children. I have a daughter too.
Oh, okay. Your boys are just were always in the gym behind you. Okay.
So like I tell everybody, I'm very close to my children. You know, we're not friends. I love with everything I have. You know, we joke around, we play around, but they still know dad is the authority figure. So you know, if I say so, hey, you know, Najee, man, I need you to pick that up. But dad, I was going to, who you mean talking to? Right. You know, so with that, so we have a great relationship, but we're not friends.
Facts.
But they're my, you know, they're my love of my life. You know, I don't know, fam. I can't explain any deeper.
For sure.
But we're to the point where they know, like, but dad is the authority figure. You know, Miss Jenkins, I'm not gonna holler at you because when I think about hollering at you, I think about my dad gonna knock me out.
Yeah.
You know, so like I see it's less than that now. And I think sometimes it's like parents are so with so much we got going on, you know, social media and everything. I think to me, parents are trying to be that child again. You know,
they trying to live their childhood through their child.
With the social media.
Definitely.
So I'm like, nah, you're not. You know, you're not paying attention enough because you want to be young again.
Right.
You know, so.
Yeah, I think also with parents, like my generation of parent for sure I can speak of, like we also have overcompensated for things that we wish our parents would have did for us.
Right.
I think that's why you see a lot of these kids getting $200-$300 Jordans when they just going to school to kick around in them because we wanted that. And like I guess that ties into what you were saying, like, you know, we're trying to live our childhood through our kids. But, you know, now that we're here, like we realize our parents, they parented us that way for a reason. Because our generation, of course, there was killing, there was drugs and things like that. But it just seems like it wasn't nearly as bad when we were coming up as it is now.
Right.
What role does the social worker play in the school system?
Everything that affects the student. So now I can't change classes. But if I see a student is struggling in classes, I could be the first resource to help them get, if you need a plan in place, whether it be a 504 IEP. I don't write the IEPs, but I write the 504s. If I find out, you know, this kid is in 9th grade again, what kind of plans can we put in place? So we cover, we help with academics to a certain degree. Overall, the counselors are the academic people. Families dealing with, say, poverty, need a place to stay, come to school social worker.
How you discover these things though? Like in a situation where a kid in his family may be sleeping in a car. Like how would you discover that?
Sometimes the family come to you. Parents,
okay.
Very seldom do the kids come to you. So sometimes the parent will come to you. A teacher will find out, hey, this is what I heard. You know, a friend will tell a teacher. And then the teacher will come to me.
Gotcha.
So I actually have students who actually live in cars. Students who were kicked out like in one night and was able to get a hotel for one night. So I got to cover that, make sure they can stay in school, put transportation together for them. You deal with the abuse, you deal with the neglect, you deal with deaths, everything that affects the student. Man, school social workers address. You address the dropouts, like so every aspect of a student, a school social worker address.
Wow, I didn't realize that the job was that broad.
Yeah, it's very broad. It's very broad.
I just thought you dealt with the kids that had like behavioral problems and tried to help them get on the right path. I didn't realize you covered all of that.
Everything, the family.
Are you the only social worker in the school?
Yes.
That's a lot, man.
Right. And
jeez.
Yes. Middle school is one social worker. High school is one social worker. Elementary school social workers have 2 schools. So yeah, it's only one.
Is it because there's not a lot of school social workers, or that's just the amount assigned per
That's how
school?
they assign them. Now
Really?
they had some funding when they started picking up a couple of extras and putting them in schools,
Mm-hmm.
but then that expired.
Yeah.
So yeah, but so there's only one
Mm-hmm.
at the high school. And so you have, Sunday first we got somewhere around 1,500 students. So if there's ever a day we had to address all 1,500, it wouldn't be done. But you cover everything that affects the student's life.
I got
So
you.
you have, the first incident I had, I told people I was at Grays Creek. I get the you got to the homes, the kids not coming to school, you check out do the home visits, everything.
Mm-hmm.
So the first incident I had, I guess not incident, but big thing I had when I was at Grays Creek is Ms. Adams come to me talking about these two students who mother was sick, and they want to know the family know you could bring them to the hospital to see the mom. I'm like, I'll take her. I'm new to this. I'm doing everything. Like, yeah, that's no problem. Well, what they didn't tell me was the mom was passed away from cancer, and this was the last thing going to see her alive because by the time they got to school, they thought she was going to pass away.
Mm.
I get there, and that's when I find out mom broke up. I'm like, wow, these little 16-year-old and 14-year-old, they got family in there, but they're sitting there looking at their mother in the bed who's passed away from cancer. Man, that was so hard. That was very hard. I'm gonna tell you a great story to that.
Yeah.
Last school year, I'm at a football game. A young lady come up to me. She said, "What's up, Mr. Shaquille?" I said, "Hey, how's it going?" I know so many kids. If I don't remember, I gotta remember. Like, hey, how's it going? She said, "I'm fine." You don't remember me, do you? I said, "Kind of not."
Yeah.
She said, "Remember me, my brother, Randy?" I said, "Wait, stop playing with me." She said, "Now you remember?" I said, "Yes, I remember." I said, "What's that knucklehead doing?" I said, "Oh my gosh, so we hugged."
Mm-hmm.
I said, "What's your age now?" She said, "I'm 34." I said, 34? She said, "Yeah, I'm 34. I have 2 children. I just got married. That's my husband. He's about to come in."
She
Yeah.
aged you.
I'm like, wow. She said, and I tell everybody, I will never forget you what you did when you took us down there to see my mom. I was like, wow. And her brother, I coached him for a while. I coached basketball at Grace Creek.
Okay.
And they trained me for a little bit. Then we just kind of lost touch with each other.
Yeah.
But going back, school social workers, man. You cover everything that affects the
Yeah, I bet
life.
those moments where like that young lady came up to you and was like, I'll never forget, what you did. Those are priceless.
Oh man, I love them, man. And that's part of the reason why I don't want to leave the schools.
Yeah.
And then I said I don't want to leave Sunny first. Like, cause I love working in the schools. I love working with the young people.
Yeah.
Over the summer, I had 15 guys I was mentoring and training at my job. 15. And I was sending pictures back in. You're like, wow, you got so many kids. And yes, all these kids right here from Sunny First High School.
Wow.
We're training when parents coming to me like, hey, I want my child to train with you during the summer.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna ask you, Coach. Do you see a kid in the school that may be having some issues, or does the school know about a kid that may have some issues where you look at them and you be like, they'll be good in my training program?
Yeah, some teachers refer.
Okay.
They'll call me up like, yo, Shaquille, got this kid. He said he loves to fight. I think he'd be great for your boxing. I said, really? Like, they're like, yeah. I'm like, all right, send him to me. And then I call him, I talk to him. I'm like, so you're a fighter? Yeah, yes, sir. I said, all right, well, tell your parents, get this to your parents and see they will let you come train. But before you start boxing, you're gonna learn all the elements of having self-control, self-discipline, getting in shape. Before you do anything about boxing. And I've had some come to me and they'll do it and they'll last a little while, and some come and they couldn't handle it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Like, what's the rate on that? Like, how many stick around? How many just be in there for a week?
I've had a couple. Yeah, I have a couple. I've had more leave.
Sure.
Yeah, because they realize, oh wait, I got to do these exercises, get in shape. And you talking about doing this and discipline, and I have a lot of old heads who help train you. So I have a lot of guys and soldiers, and they see like, yo, listen, man, you need to listen.
Yeah.
So with that, they're not. It's great what they're getting that they're not used to getting. They don't understand the time. That is great. So they leave. But I get a lot of referrals like that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Oh, go ahead.
No, please continue.
Yeah, but now, I know, I released another book in August.
Yeah.
And so when I did that, I had one kid in my school. His mom had him training with me for a little while, and he has a lot of stuff. So his mom bring him to me. He got referred from another kid that started training with me, who I'm mentoring now, who's at Tar Heel Challenge. He left school. He's at Tar Heel Challenge. I'm his mentor.
Okay.
So he come to me, about wanting to train, wanting to box. I'm like, okay, So when his mom bring him to me, I said, you want him to try it out, or you want him to, you want to sign him up? I said, you probably let him try it out first. She's like, nah, he needs to go. Just let him sign him up so he can get out my damn head. So she said that. I'm like, I wasn't good to say in front of your son. That's what I'm saying to my son. I didn't say it to her.
Mm-hmm.
You said basically in front of your son, you just said, get out I need him out of my house.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So, he started training with me, man. And he knows nothing about respect. So, like, I give away water for free.
Mm-hmm.
Most guys like, Coach, can I get a water?
Mm-hmm.
No, waters are free. Gatorade's $1. Mm-hmm. So he says to me, yo, can I get a water? Mm-hmm. So I give him water. Mm-hmm. He walk away. I said, oh, come back here. I said, I just gave you a water. Yeah. He's like, I know. I said, there's a response to that. I said, there's a give and take. I said, so what's your response? He said, oh, thank you. I said, exactly. So I'm talking to this guy constantly, man, right? Trying to get him right. Use a profanity. This, you probably know, you remember, there's no profanity in mine. So you do profanity, you don't mean push-up. Yeah. Even the grown man, you're 40 and you're using a lot of profanity. I know it's going to come out every now and then. Yeah. You're a push-up. So this kid saying things, I said, we don't do that in here, man. Don't you understand that? Well, I didn't know. I said, now this is your free warning. So a couple more times he's cursing. I don't do push-ups. He's mad, But I also know that I got to also just talk to him. So if I'm talking to him at the practice a little bit about different things, before his mom and them stopping him from training, I call her up. I say, hey, you probably should keep him in the program. She said, yeah, but I ain't got time paying. And I said, don't worry about that. I give him a scholarship. I give kids scholarships.
Oh, okay.
Where they just get to train. Yeah, the way you and what happens with your scholarship is you got to help maintain the gym. So we finish using the power balls, you help stack them up.
Got you.
The bags need to be wiped down, you wipe the bags down. And that scholarship will run for 3 months. So you don't have to pay anything.
Nice.
She said, well, I just only had that much time. And so I call him off one day. We just, we having a conversation because he gets in trouble in school. I give him my book. That's what I to him. A Better Male, Men Are Learned Early. So I give it to him. I said, guys, I want you to do, I want you to read this book. I said, you like reading? He said, yeah, sometimes. I said, I want you to read this book. I said, matter of fact, I want you to start out this chapter a little bit about me. It's about me. I said, and what you're going to find when you read a little bit about me is that I came through struggles growing up, some of the things I saw. And I said, you know what? I got to change who I am. I said, when you read it, it's going to intrigue you to read more what's in the book. He was so happy. He's like, so this is mine? I said, it's yours. I said, I even signed it.
Oh, nice.
When I signed his name from Coach Khalil. He said, oh, man, thank you so much, Coach. I'm going to read it. And he dug right in when he went home over the week and was reading. He'd come back to me like, Coach, that book is good, man. He said, well, I didn't know that stuff about you. And some of the things you tell, he told some of the jewels you're giving us, everybody needs to read this. So I peeped his interest.
I know that made you feel good.
Yeah, it made me feel good because, again, I love helping the young people. Yeah. But it started with him being in my program, realizing, mom, for whatever reason, didn't want him in it anymore. And it took some, for lack of a better term, restructuring them. I wouldn't say breaking them up. Restructuring them. So like, nah, you say thank you when I give you something. Same thing that I teach my son. You don't be using profanity. We're not doing that here. Yeah. So it took some restructuring to help them see like, okay, yeah, I had to do things different. Yeah. So I know I kind of jumped off, but
no, that was a great story, man. That was a great story. And that's just a testament of who you are, man. These stories about this young kid and the story with the young girl giving you a hug at the game. I mean, that's who you are to this community, man. Like you make impacts, bro. I do want to talk about your boys. Right. Your sons, man. I saw them in the barbershop last year sometime. I didn't recognize them because last time I saw them, they was youngins. Right. And Damon was cutting my hair. He was like, and I think you came in as they were leaving because they're driving now. Right. And Damon was cutting my hair. He was like, that those was Coach Khalil's sons. I was like, what? I was like, them dudes is big now, man. Yeah. So I know you have a very close relationship with your sons, man. Talk about what your boys mean to you.
Everything. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, and people laugh. I tell people, all my children, I have a daughter too. My daughter's in dental school. But I tell people, my children to me is like what the jugular vein is to us. Take your jugular vein years on. So my relationship with my children, man, is very tight. My son, since they're in the house with me, we are super close. Like we're, my youngest son, Najee, he's 17, about to turn 18. He's a senior at 71st. And they tease me about speeches.
So why's that?
I give speeches. I give a lot of speeches.
So why they tease you about it?
Because they're like, oh boy, here's another speech. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna get to our relationship.
Oh, you give them speeches? Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So me too. Okay, I got you. I misunderstood.
We're sitting around one night, and me, the boys, my wife, and Najee says, I don't know what we was discussing. He's like, y'all smell that? So somebody said that, you think it's something burning? Yeah. We're like, Smell what? That's the aroma of a speech.
Uh,
Dad about to give us a speech. And he was right. I did.
Yeah.
Now I changed it to dialogue. I'm
Yeah.
like, no, it's not. Now I said, God, I'm gonna give you. We're gonna have some dialogue. And now
Mhm.
you're like, Dad, we're not talking back. It's not dialogue. We're
Right.
just talking.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm very close to my sons, man.
Isn't
Yeah.
this such a good age? Because you say you got one at 17. How old is the other one?
Amir's 20.
20.
Amir turned 20.
Because
He's a Methodist.
they're at that age now where you could just give them guidance.
Right.
Like fatherhood isn't as hard. You know what I mean? At this age.
times.
Yeah, at times, of
Yeah.
course. They challenge you mentally
Yeah.
now. You know what I mean? Like why you do that stupid thing you did type. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I feel like I enjoy parenthood so much at this point because I'm just giving you guidance.
Right.
I'm just
Right.
coaching you.
Right.
It's up to you to make the choice because
Right.
if you make the wrong choice, it's on the wrong choice is on you,
Right.
not me.
Right.
How do you feel about that?
I agree.
Yeah.
I told him, I said, man, I said, notice Dad would never purposely give you the wrong advice.
Never told you nothing wrong.
I would never purposely give you the wrong advice. So now it's going up to you, like you said. Are you gonna take this advice or not?
Right.
And I say to them, I said the hardest advice for you young guys to take is good advice from your parents. They don't want that. The hardest advice for you young guys to take is good advice from your parents.
That is good. Yeah. I'm gonna use that.
They don't want that. Go ahead, man. I'm like, I can tell you guys this. You gotta be like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And then later be like, yo, Dad, guess what? You were right.
Yeah.
So yeah, my relationship with man is very tight.
At least you get that. Mine don't even come back and be like, you was right. He just let me find out I was right on my own later down the road. Like, oh, so that did happen. Yeah, it happened. And he just kind of look at me.
Like I want to tell you.
Yeah.
I know what you're gonna say.
And I look at him like, didn't I tell you?
Right.
But go ahead, Coach. I'm sorry.
And I think part of it, man, I don't know if you knew or remember, I had a wife pass away.
Yes. I was going to get into that. Yes.
So with that, I think that even helped our bond even more. Even though my goal always, my daughter was born first, but just to be a great father because I ended up having a father.
Yeah.
And that hurt me so much growing up. So I would just be like, when I have a kid, you know, my kid's gonna be everything to me. So all of my daughter, you know, and my son's very tight. I think the bond may be more special because, you know, I had joint custody of my daughter.
Okay.
So she was very close with my late wife. You know, she's the only, other than her mother and I, the only person I ever remember my daughter was my late wife. You know?
Okay.
So, but with my sons living in the house and seeing everything mommy was going through and how dad had to take care of everything, and that she passed away, you know, me sleeping on the floor for close to a year, and then after that close to a year, they slept in my bed with me. You know, I think that sealed the bond even more. You know, now sometimes I tell them, I'm like, man, you guys not going to appreciate me until I'm dead and gone. Like, oh boy, here you go with that, Dad.
Yeah.
But I think that even helped even more. You know, and then being a man, you know, it's and somewhere back in there, I guess in my subconscious somewhere was like, okay, I didn't have a father around. I just had to make sure I'm the right for my sons.
Yeah.
You know? With that, I got to know when to like pull back a little bit too. You know, move more into guidance instead of direction.
Because you could push them away.
Yeah. So I work on that too, man. It's crazy. I told my current wife now, I'm like, whew, I got to learn, sweetie, just to let it go. My daughter be peeping something. She's like, Dad, let the leash go. My daughter's 25 now. Let the leash go a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you talking about? Dad, just trust me, Dad.
Yeah.
Let the leash go a little bit. So I really do work on that. Like, okay, let me just go ahead and just let them breathe a little bit. Man. But yeah, we very tight, man. They do well. Good. And I told people, Mary, he's a sophomore now in Methodist. Nigel, he's choosing between Campbell or A&T.
Okay.
And I told you, I said he has a 4.2 GPA. You know, they were both top soccer guys in the state and all that. But I told people they still just regular old young men. Yeah. You know, so they got the look, you know, they got the hairdress, they regular old young men. Yeah. But they're very respectful.
And smart.
Very smart, very respectful. So with that, like when I talk about them, I don't brag about them, but I do talk about the great things they've done and how they're raised and you know, very smart. Reason being, so many who are not doing that. But I also say they're just regular little guys. You know? So who knows? I might walk in one night and somebody's smoking. Yeah. You know, they're just regular young men, but they're good.
Yeah, they're good kids. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You spoke about your late wife. Excuse me, for those that don't know, Coach Khalil lost his late wife due to cancer, correct?
Yeah,
breast cancer. Yeah. You know, I have so much admiration for you, brother, because, you know, I've lost people. Hassana has lost friends that have really hurt us, but you lost a wife.
Yeah.
How did you hold it together? not only for yourself,
Right.
but for these little ones looking at you, man. Because I know that has to be
It
hard.
was hard, man, but I had to do it. You know, and I told people like it may be some of the life lessons I went through growing up, the resiliency I had to build because so much happened to me. Like I went through a lot of like trauma stuff or a few trauma stuff growing up. I don't know if that like helped me come along with my, when my wife was going through, she's going through. I just had to do it. Like I started speaking at cancer events, and I would tell them, I would give advice like what to do with your children, and all based off my experience and what I went through.
Yeah.
We don't use certain terminologies when she was going through it. I just had to be there for him, man. It was like I never did I fold, almost fold. Like I can't do this anymore. Like that never crossed my mind. I can't do it. Never. Like, okay, come on. Tomorrow's another day. We got to go. Today, man, Lynette's really weak. Wow. And we still got to rock and roll. So I just kept going, and the boys saw it, and we just kept flowing, man.
I know you had to have moments where
I mean,
you just,
I had a lot of moments where I cried, man.
yeah, man.
That's the first book I released, actually.
Yeah,
note.
yeah.
I
I knew about that one. I
Yeah.
didn't know about the one you just released.
Yeah, but I even now, like I might open a book like books and I'll read a page and maybe I'll see something.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, I'll get teary eyed.
Yeah, for sure.
So and we talk about it some. We used to go out to the gravesite a lot, and then one day they told me like, Dad, I don't want to go out to the gravesite. I'm like, okay. I'm like, why? And I didn't want to force. And Amir said, because every time we go out there, I get sad.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. I said, Bud, that's big. Like, could you think like, okay, we got to go to the gravesite.
Yeah.
We got to go to the gravesite.
Show respect.
Right.
Yeah.
But when they felt comfortable enough to say to me, nah, that's not what we want. We know where mommy at. That's our angel. But that makes me really sad when we go out there. Yeah. We're not going out there then. Yeah. Until you guys say, I want to start going out there. Yeah. So I think some of the things they've learned helped a lot. But man, it was tough, man. It was real tough. It was like every day you're like, first you have hope. And then you find out there's no hope. Now you're waiting for the last day. Like, okay, when's gonna be the last day? Like, oh boy, they're coming now. So it was really tough. Yeah. And then what we knew was coming. She said to me one night, she said, well, first she told me, she said, man, I'm tired of this battle. I like, you can't say that. She said, I know, but I am. She said, I'm tired of this battle. She said, I don't think I got much longer. I'm like, oh man.
How long were y'all married?
Probably about 9 years,
okay.
9.5 years.
Okay.
Been knowing each other longer than that. Okay. We were friends at one time.
Got you.
And then we, ended up meeting again later. Then we were cool, and she told me, I bake cakes. I'm like, you don't bake cakes. And then she started baking like some of her homemade cakes. Oh man, I'm like, man.
the cake guy.
Yeah. So I forgot where I was at, man. But the days, so days was,
she was tired.
Yeah, she was tired. Yeah. Like, you can't say that. She said, but I am. And she was so strong. Like, she wouldn't let me drive her to work. Like, she worked at DSS. She used to be a probation officer when she left there. She's working at DSS. And I was like, let me just drive you to work. She's like, nope, can't drive me to work. And she was a track superstar, too. I'm like, why can't I drive you to work? Because if I start allowing you to drive me to work, that's going to make me feel like I'm giving up on my fight. So she would not allow me to drive her to work, man. It was crazy.
That's
she was like,
nope. Right there.
So then finally she could no longer work. She was loved by so many of her colleagues that she had enough. She was donated enough because all her leave was used. We was going to Duke every week. All her leave was used. They donated so much leave to her that she didn't receive a check. Excuse me, she didn't miss a check for close to a year.
Wow.
And hadn't worked because all the people just kept donating leave. They just kept donating leave.
All about how you treat people.
Right.
You never know. Yeah, building
relationships.
Yeah.
So we sit in the day that we told nothing else could be done. April 10th, 2012. We sitting in there, we go to Duke. By now we just feeling down, like all the news has been negative and more things are popping up on her. And Dr. Malcolm, this will still get me. Dr. Malcolm, he walks in and he said, sorry, nothing else can be done. So we look at each other. My wife started crying. I started crying. He said, now, if you want, you can continue to take the chemo. He said, but what you're going to do, you're going to have all the side effects, but it's not going to help the cancer. He said, so when I tell you stop taking the chemo, he said, but it's not working at all. He said, it's growing. So my wife says, okay, give us a couple of minutes. So he leave out. I said, you want to keep taking the chemo or not. Like, I'm not taking chemo anymore. I said, okay. I said, like, you know what that means? She said, yeah, I know what it means. She said, you know what it means too, because he just told us it's not working. I'm telling you, she was so strong. She was so strong. So I said, wow. I said, I don't even know what to do with this. She says, just promise me that you'll find somebody that love you and the boys as much as I love y'all. Yeah, I was through. Now I'm in there boo-hooing. I get teary-eyed now. I said, you can't say that. She says to me, she said, Khalil, this is our reality. She said, promise me you find somebody that love you and the boys as much as I do. So I'm like, now I'm in there crying, right? She's crying hard as well. Dr. Markham come back in, and she says, how much longer do you think I have? And she said all this. He says, we no longer make predictions. He said it could be 3 months, it could be 6 months, it could be a year. He said, but doctors no longer make predictions on timelines for stuff like this. 2 weeks later, man, she was gone. 2 weeks later, she was gone. Probably about a week and a half later, I put her in a hospice because I didn't work with the boys. Hospice had moved into our home initially. And the boys, every morning when they get up, when I get them ready for school, they would come around the corner and the mirror would peek, like he was scared to look. So one day I said to him, I said, "Bud, I said, why you always peek?" He said, "Dad," he said, "I'm afraid that I'm going to," at the time he's 7 years old. He said, "I'm afraid that I'm going to come around the corner and mommy's going to be passed away." We never used dead, we used passed away. It's okay, but I said, so that, like, when you peek, it makes you feel a little better. He's like, yeah. So I talked with her family. She had a real tight family. I said, hey, we don't know when the days left. I said, I'm going to move her into a hospice location. And I explained to the family why. We had a family meeting. I said, the reason being, I said, the kids, every morning they wake up, they're like terrified of mommy. I said, so we know where we're at now in the situation with hospice. It'd be better if she's at the location. So we kind of take a little bit of the fear and sadness away from the kids. So then, we moved to the location, and she's been passing away April 24th. And I went down there. I was there with the whole time. Sitting there talking to her, and she was passing away. I just held her hand, man, talking to her. I was there. Her sister was there, and one of her brothers. I just held her hand, and watching somebody take their last breath is worse, man. It was. So after a while, I put my head on her, right here, her little heart area, and told her just rest easy. Then I had to go home and tell the kids, man, Keon, that right there. Oh man, I would wish that on the enemy if I had one. Yeah. That was hard. When I get to the house, Amir said, "So Dad, what about mommy?" I said, "God, sit down." I talked to them, tell them. Amir just stared out the window. Najee broke down. Najee was 4. It was a month before his 5th birthday. And then I had to call my daughter. So it was tough. Yeah. But we made it through, man. Like I said, slept on their floor forever. We had a special prayer we would say, referring to as our guardian angel. Then eventually they moved, they moved to my bed. So of course, definitely, if any questions, were you dating? Nope. Right. So man, we just day by day, man, we got through it. Yeah. And then eventually we always refer to her as the guardian angel. And with my my daughter, she was okay. We remained strong. Then I ended up eventually meeting my wife now. And they pretty much was doing pretty fine. Then the mayor, I started seeing some struggle with him in school. So he had a teacher, I can't remember her name. I tried to find her probably the 3 years, Amir's senior year, I tried to find her. And I told her she had retired, she came back, and she re-retired. And every time I wanted to find her, say, yo, Amir's graduating now. I got one of his teachers, I'm friends with her on Facebook that Amir had in 3rd grade. But this particular teacher, when Amir was sad, she was like a grandma to him. She would bring him up to the front of the class and just sit him in her lap and just talk to him and rock him. While she teach a class, she's like one of the old school veteran teachers. Like, I could teach you guys, and I'm really making these eggs. Right. So she would just bring him, sit him in her lap, and just rock him and just talk to him. She'll call me, "Hey, Khalil, Amir had another rough day, a sad day." And then eventually, he slowly start coming out, and then I might have been 3rd or 4th, the following year, when they start having like testing, you see that he wasn't focused. I'm like, they would say, hey, he didn't, back then they did the little EOC thing. Like he didn't pass it, you know, or he got a 2, whatever.
And you
And
think that was connected to
it
him
definitely
losing his
connected to his
mom?
grief. It was
Oh, okay.
definitely connected to his grief because he's like afterwards he kind of just started going down.
Yeah.
So then his teacher, who I'm friends with now, she said it's definitely not being smart. She said he's sad.
Yeah.
It was grief.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do everything we can. I'm gonna stay with him after school. And this young lady, man, she had a young child herself.
Mm-hmm.
She said, I'm gonna stay with him after school. We're gonna just work on stuff. Khalil, we're gonna just keep working, keep working, keep working. And he ended up getting enough where he passed. And you know, as also he's dealing with his grief better coming out of his grief, you know, he went back to excelling
Yeah.
the way
Yeah.
he
Yeah. Got back to
had been.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he had some real good support systems around him. Again, we talking about relationships.
Yeah.
You know, good
Yeah.
people.
Mm-hmm.
And the one teacher, I tried to make her jazz CDs. So after that, I told her, I said, you got jazz CDs for life. Not to make her real good. But so that was that struggle. We went through it, man. You know,
Mm-hmm.
came on the other side. We still refer to Lynette as our guardian angel. I'll tell you about the car accident.
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, I appreciate you, you know, sharing that story about your wife and her, you know, your last moments with her. You know, we appreciate that. Um, I know that you have gotten into a new relationship, new marriage. Um, I hate to go from, you know, but it's a transition. But how was that with your boys, bringing your boys into your new love interest? How was it incorporating your boys? Because I know they love their mom and they were close with her.
Right.
So what was that like? Did they push back a lot?
No, man. I pushed back more than they did.
Did you?
Yeah, and I got to the story. It's funny. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I love to say that to people. I know a lot of people caught up in their different things, and which is fine. Okay. So my wife told me, you know, my late wife told me what she told me. Find somebody that love you and the boys as much as I do.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking for any relationships. So my wife now one day, you know, we meet and we just start talking, right? And she says to me, she said, Khalil, have you now this was my wife passed away in April, so this had to be like January, February the next year.
Okay.
Maybe my first met in December,
Mm-hmm.
I think. So we just started just communicating with each other.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter said to me one day, and I can't remember what month it was after my late wife passed. It was a month down the line, like after the summer.
Mm-hmm.
She said, Dad, you know, eventually you got to find somebody. I'm like, Bree, what are you talking about? She said, Dad, you can't live your life without finding someone. She said, and she called them Miss Net. She said, Miss Net told you, find someone that can love you and the boys as much as I do. She said, Dad, you can't like give all your time to us. My daughter's 13 years old telling me this. You can't just give all your time to us, Dad. So anyway, let me go back. So I meet my late wife. We just friends. And then she says to me one day, you know, she says, Chloe, have you ever dated a white girl?
Mm-hmm.
My new wife, white. I'm like, no. I said, but some of my best friends are white. You know, the little thing like some of my best friends are white.
Yeah.
So she started laughing. I said, no. I said, it's not something that just ever just came up. I'm like, she said, okay. She said, well, as we get to know each other better, she said, you know, if you're interested, I'm interested in dating. So corny. It's such a corny line, but straight to the point. She said, I just want to be able to see. She said, I know you and your boys are used to happy and smiling. She said, I just want to see you smile again. I want to see them just have fun. I said, oh, that's real cool. I said, it's really cool you say that. So she still hadn't met him, right? I'm still just trying to fill her out. So then finally, she meet him one day. We all go to lunch. We go to Chick-fil-A, and she has a little kid with her. She's a babysit. And I'm just watching how the boys interact. Like, you know, how they go, are they shy? They don't want to talk to her. They like, oh, and they just click. They just click, like just talking to her. Her name's Carrie. They always called her Miss Carrie. Still call her Miss Carrie this day. So now she's been in their life now. When Amir just turned 20, so 13 years she's been in their life. You know, they just clicked, like they were talking to her, friendly, wasn't afraid. So I'm on some thinking some more spiritual stuff, like, yo, that's Lynette coming through her. You know, I'm just thinking some more spiritual stuff, man. So we like, oh man. So after later on, you know, she go her way, I go my way, we talking. I said, it's really cool how the kids just took to you, like they didn't mind being around you. So she's all right. So eventually we go out every now and then. So now she's really, you know, we talking about dating, and it's hard. I couldn't do it. So I have a buddy. I call him Dr. McClure. He like, Khalil, you got to relax. I said, man, what do you mean? He said, you making it hard on purpose, man. He said, what did Lynette say to you, man? He said, what did Lynette say to me when she grabbed the phone from me? She had told my buddy McClure, before we knew for sure she's going to pass away, hey, Khalil don't get real close to a lot of people. He's real guarded. He said, you know, I'm really tight. Make sure you help take care of him when I'm gone. I promise you, Kiana, she told him. So he said to me, what did she tell me, man? I said, no, man. I said, but right now, he said, no. He said, come on, you got to relax. Like, bro, this lady like you. She's really nice. He said, what else you gonna do? He said, just chill. He said, you're making it real difficult for her. Like, I would think of reasons, like, to make stuff a problem.
That's real. You know, we talk ourselves out of, good situations all the time because we're uncomfortable or something, or we're not ready, we're not completely healed or whatever. We miss out on good opportunities just because we in our own head.
Right. And I think it was. I wasn't healed, man.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of a reason, like, why are your jeans blue instead of black? So I'm thinking of, man. But the thing is, she wouldn't stop. Like, she wouldn't give up.
Wow.
Like, okay, if you're not ready, I totally understand. I respect it. If you and the boys want to go out with me and Liam, that's the location too. I'm babysit. And y'all want to go out to have lunch, let me know. If you want something and I'm out, let me know. I'll bring it by. So eventually we got cooler and cooler and cooler. Started dating, and here it is now. We got married in 2016 and been together ever since.
That's awesome.
So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, man. So,
and I love how she led with her heart.
Yeah.
She was trying to capture you with love, like, and support, and mainly just wanting to show you that she got your back,
right?
And I think that's beautiful.
It is, man. Yeah. And then even when she said, and I still tease about it. Then we talk to friends. I'm like, you asking about who have I ever dated a certain person? I tease her. I'm like, but you asking crazy questions like, have you ever dated a white girl before? She's like, yeah, man, because not everyone date white girls, and some people are not for it. So I think I asked you that. I said it was a cool question. It was weird.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a good pickup line.
It's direct though.
But it was straight to the point.
Yeah. Right. She was like, look, I ain't even gonna waste my time if you don't like white people. You know what I mean? Or if you don't like white women.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, but it was real cool, man. She's real cool. And now we sit around and talk like, no fault to Lynette, my late wife, but she's been in the boy's life longer than Lynette was. No fault. And they love her to death. They love her.
And I'm sure she loved them too.
Oh man, she's crazy about him. Amir's in college. In college, you pledge. Okay. The other day we talking about his pledging, and what happens sometimes when you pledge. She started crying. I'm like, sweetie, why are you crying? Because I don't like that. Like, my son. So I took a picture of her. We were FaceTime.
She called him son?
Oh yeah. She doesn't call him son, man. She talking about love. Oh, they're tight.
Yeah, that's good, man.
Oh yeah. But as a matter of fact, they'll call her for the, hey, we tease them, like, you gonna ever call her mine? Like, oh, that's weird. But like, it's kind of, we gotta call you for this because we know we can't talk to dad about this. Oh man, they very tight.
Yeah.
Oh, they very tight, man.
And that gotta warm your heart.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So everybody's tight. They're tight. My late wife's family's tight with her. So she met on them. So everybody know, hey, Cal, you better come over here and get some of this food. So it's a beautiful thing.
She family, man. 13 years. Yeah. Like that.
So everybody's tight. We're all tight. We're fans. So
she been there.
Yeah. So but let me say one thing, man, about the guardian angel. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, please.
So my boys were in a car accident on November, I think 13th. Was a drunk driver hit him over there right by the school and tore the car up. Tore the car, knocked him out of the street into the curb. Now, Amir had minor damage, Nadia had minor damage. So I get they called me up, Amir, like, Dad. He called me, said, Dad, stay calm. And I panic, but I freak out about everything anyway. I like, boy, you say stay calm, that means something just happened. Yeah. I said, who I need to come see? That's just wrong mindset, but that's the mindset that pops up.
Nah, that's any father.
Yeah, like what?
We protect our children, our family.
Right. Yeah. So he says, I know, Dad, the car accident got hit, so I'm driving. I get that, all these signs, man. I'm a crier. Like, I cry. I start crying. So once we get there, they out, they talking to the now they talking to one of the officers. And while they talk to the officer, he's like, yeah, I had a little pain there. Nadia hit his head. Amir told you that Nadia hit his head when we hit. All of the bags are out. Side bags on the mirror side, side bags on Nadi's side, and the front side bag. That's how hard the guy hit him.
Wow.
So
was it head on or like T-bone?
Tore the car up. So then so now they take care of the EMS guy talking to me. One of the officers talking to me, and he says so as we're sitting, I'm going there now. I'm crying now. I'm angry. I see the guy. He showed no remorse.
Oh wow.
So I'm like, oh man. So I'm like, come on, let's do it up.
Yeah.
So I go over by the car. I told the officers, I'm gonna go record his car. Excuse me, I'll take a video of his vehicle. And I'm thinking to myself, I want to get close enough where he say something to me.
Yeah.
And I'm going.
And you got a reason.
Yeah. So wouldn't have been right. I know it wouldn't have been right. So
it would have been understood though.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm going. I'm doing it. That's why I'm walking back. I'm still crying. And like I said, I cry.
Yeah.
And I'm doing something with my hands. And Mary said, no, Dad. I said, "What?" He said, "No, Dad."
What was you about to do? You had something on you?
No, I just do this thing with my hand
Oh,
when I'm starting
oh,
debating. I could what next
oh,
step. So he's watching
yeah.
my
He
movement.
know his dad.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
"No, Dad." He said, "Dad, it's not worth it."
Mm.
His dad is not worth it. I said, "Nah, something needs to happen." He said, "Dad, listen to me." He rubbed my arm like he's father now. He rubbed my arm. He said, "Dad, if you do what you think about doing, Dad, I
It's
know what
gonna
it
be
is.
worse for
It's
us.
gonna be bad. Dad.
Yeah,
They're gonna lock you up. They're
yeah.
gonna get you for assault and
Mm.
all this stuff right here.
Yep,
It's gone, Dad."
yep.
He
He
said,
right.
"Dad, we okay, Dad. We your sons, Dad. We the Shaquille brothers." He said all the little
Oh
motivating
man.
things we would say before our games. So I'm sitting there. So now I'm calming down. When I'm thinking, I'm talking myself down too, but I'm still at that level where I need to go ahead and
Yeah,
hit
handle
the mouth.
this.
Right.
Yeah.
So then he's like, "No, Dad." So after man, I calm down a little bit. I'm sitting there. I walk over to the officer who's doing the paperwork, and she said, "Yeah." She's I'm about to get her four tests, and he come back how many taking the nasty judge. She's got to know something going on with them drinking or something. I said, "Yeah, but something else needs to happen." She said, "Dad." She said, "Dad, I know it does."
Mm-hmm.
She said, "But don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I got you. I got your son." She said, "I'm locking his ass up. Just Dad,
Mm-hmm.
go with me, okay? Listen
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying to you."
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm really like, "Yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Like she telling me, like, "Yo, we're gonna take care of this."
Mm-hmm.
But you do that, I gotta put the cuffs on you.
Yeah.
But it was, so and now, so all that to say, when I'm talking to the family about it, one of her brothers, he's a pastor, and I respect his pastorship,
Mm-hmm.
if that's a word.
Right.
He's like, "Yeah, the Lord protected him." I said, "Nah, Mark." I said, "Lynette protected him."
Mm.
Like, he said, "Well, we all believe the way we believe." I said, "Listen, man." I said, "Lynette's been their guardian angel since she passed."
Mm-hmm.
I said, "We were always referred to her as their guardian angel."
Guardian angel.
I said, "You're
Yeah.
right." I said, "Everybody had their own beliefs."
For sure.
I said, "So my belief is, God, don't let that drunk driver get in the car, drive down the street, run the red light, and hit these two young men." I said,
Right.
"That's my belief."
Right.
I said, "However, if it happens, my belief is the guardian angel said, no, 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 not my sons.
Yeah.
My son's gonna be okay."
Yeah.
So I said, for that, Mark, I said the guardian angel, Lynette, protected him.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "No disrespect to you, man." I said, "But that's my belief.
For sure.
It was my son."
And that's valid.
I said, "That's what we're gonna live with."
Yep.
So when they think about who protected, they're gonna think my mommy protected me. The guardian angel protected us.
Mm-hmm.
I said, because if you know he'll get in the car, I said, and I get it, you're a pastor. Don't allow him to get in the car.
Yeah.
Just stop him from getting in the car altogether.
Yeah.
You don't stop him, guardian angel will step in and say, but that was
I
my
understand.
belief, and that was their belief.
And that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it works for us.
Yeah.
Like,
And
let it
that's
work
what's
for us.
important. Yep.
Right.
That's what's
So,
important. Nah, I appreciate that. I appreciate you telling us that story. I appreciate all you brought to the show tonight. You being vulnerable, talking about your late wife. Appreciate you taking us down the journey through your career.
yeah.
We appreciate what you do in the school system. Again, Coach Khalil, we here at Suited to Serve just want you to know we appreciate what you bring to this community. Through boxing, through your social work, you're helping kids, you're helping people change their life through weight loss, through mentorship. You bring a lot to this community, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate
And we
it, man.
thank you. Tell them where to follow you at on social media, Coach.
You go to my regular page, the Khalil Shaquille. You find me on Facebook there. I have an Ambition Boxing Academy page. On Instagram, you can find me at Ambition Sports, or you can find me in the Khalil Shaquille. I'm all over the place. Actually, I post too much.
Now you can never post too much in this day and age, man. You got to be visible.
Right.
My content creator be preaching that to me all the time.
Right.
But listen, Coach Khalil, I definitely vouch for Coach Khalil's his training course over at Ambition Boxing. I put my son in it when he was at a young age to keep him in shape in between the seasons. Coach Khalil is an expert at what he does, and we thank you for coming through, Coach Khalil. Thanks for bringing yourself and your knowledge to the podcast, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate
Thank y'all for another episode of Suited to Serve. We appreciate you staying tuned in. We hope you appreciate this episode with Coach Khalil. And we ask you to please like and subscribe to the podcast and stay tuned for the next one. Thank you.